Yo, what a trip, what a privilege, and what a car. The Golf 8 GTI is finally here, people. I'm Jacob, and welcome to the digital premiere of the Golf 8 GTI. I just want to love it and hug it and touch it. I'm so glad I'm in this space. Yo, but us South Africans love the GTI, hey? We're one of the biggest markets for the Golf GTI outside of Europe, so I know you are pumped that it's finally arrived. But you aren't the only ones, because it's a massively exciting moment for Volkswagen South Africa too. I mean, just look at the smiles of Sia and Stefan. You guys look like proud parents. It's a critical moment.
We're really excited, Jacob. The Golf 8 GTI is finally here, Mzansi, and we can't wait for our customers to drive this car.
That's a... Sia, wait. Are those GTI socks? No
GTI
way.
socks, GTI swag. I'm ready.
What?
I'm ready.
Where do you even get GTI socks, Stefan?
But I'd put them also for
No. I'm the odd one out now. Now I missed the memo. Can you hook me up with some socks, please?
Absolutely, we do so.
Okay, cool. Now we're going to be getting some GTI socks. Stefan, as head of the Volkswagen passenger car brand in South Africa, what is it about the Golf GTI that has made it such an iconic car? And not just here in South Africa, but also in Europe.
I think it's really a legend. Yeah, for me, it's like a promise. You know, a brand is a promise, and you have to continuously deliver this promise to your customer. That means these vehicles, being on the right, on the left side, they deliver always the best driving dynamics, a lot of power, a lot of fun to drive, and at the same time the functionality of a Golf. Yeah? Let me just tell you some numbers. It's really interesting. In 1974, it was decided to build the first MK1 Golf GTI. And the volume, what we planned at the time, was 5,000 vehicles only. Now, a lot of years later, 2020, we sold more than 2.3 million of those vehicles. And the good thing is, in all GTIs, you have the same DNA. Driving dynamics, a lot of power, really fun to drive, and very important for me also, the functionality of our legend, the Golf.
2.3 million GTIs. That's a case study that's worth remembering.
That's really amazing.
That is amazing. Now, Sia, as Stefan mentioned, the generations come into play here.
Yeah.
Do you think that the generations of GTI and its popularity made it such a big deal for South Africans?
Definitely. When we launched this Mark 1 GTI in South Africa in 1982, it really created a whole new concept in performance motoring and essentially birthed the term hot hatch. So when we talk about the history of GTI, we can't not talk about motorsport, because motorsport really showcased the performance attributes of the Golf GTI brand. So I'm taking you way back now to 1983 when Sarel van der Merwe Super Van won the 1983 Group 1 Championship in a Golf GTI. And this was barely a year before the car was launched in our market. So with a 39-year history in South Africa, we've seen that the Golf GTI brand has continued to gain popularity, so much so that we are now one of the largest markets of Golf GTI outside of Europe.
Wow.
So that is phenomenal indeed.
It is phenomenal indeed. And what an honor it is to have the Mark 1 GTI here with us today. It's such a privilege to have the real OG on this floor, gracing us with its amazing presence. Now, Stefan, if you look at Mark 1 GTI, Mark 8 GTI, 40 odd years between the two cars. This shows how VW evolved as a brand.
Yeah, it's just an amazing success story if you look at this. Yeah, if you look at the numbers, you know, my friend, he had a used MK1 GTI at the time when I was a young guy, and I was amazed about the power. Now we were sitting there, you know, young guys really rocking the scene, and it was only 81 kilowatts what this vehicle was delivering. Today, our 2-liter turbocharged engine, yeah, is equipped with the 7-speed DSG transmission and delivers 180 kilowatts.
Wow.
Yeah, just to put this into numbers, into context, this is 370 Newton meter of torque, and a car today is delivering the 0 to 100 in 6.4 seconds. And at the time when we thought we sit in a rocket, it was 9.2 seconds.
And you thought that was fast?
Absolutely. I thought I was pressed like 3G in the vehicle, yeah? But it's really amazing how technology evolved in all aspects, from safety over to you know, speed, of the ruggedness, of the validity and quality-wise. So really a nice story to tell. Let's have a look at this car. What do you think?
Yeah, let's have a look at this car in detail. But first, tell me about this color. I love it. It's a popping color.
It's amazing, huh?
Yeah.
It's actually a very sparkling red, what we use here. It's called King's Red.
King's Red.
And if you ask me personally, my first company car will be exactly that color.
Oh, lucky
It's
you.
lovely, huh?
Oh, you are so lucky. Tell me more about the car.
All right, I guess let's start with the exterior a little bit, with the front. What I really like of this vehicle, it looks extremely aggressive. Question is now, how do you achieve this aggressiveness? The first thing which is very important are the lights. So that's the first time we actually use our IQ Light LED matrix headlamps. What's so special about them? Every headlamp has 22 lamps inside.
Wow.
And the advantage of this is that it generates a seamless light, and with this it looks really technical. Yeah? And at the same time, obviously, you can see very aggressive, which is important for such a hot hatch. If you continue, you have obviously the DNA, it's a GTI, you have the nice red line here, which in the past on the MK1 we had a red frame around, but we are using this red line also on these vehicles, obviously, because it's our DNA. Then what is, for me, I love light, yeah? If you combine, you see there's a nice LED line which combines those two headlamps, yeah? Which kind of moves this part of the grille a little bit slimmer, and then this contrasts to the lower part, honeycomb, it's a GTI, part very, very aggressively, yeah? But the highlight, obviously, at night are the 5 rhombus daytime running lights.
I like that. That's where the daytime running lights have now been located. It gives it a very slick touch.
And you clearly see the signature of a GTI at
Yeah.
night. Let's go to the side if you want. So what is special of those lights too, from my point of view, is that it somehow morphs into the shoulder line. You know, like in a man, to make it really strong, you have to have wide shoulders. So these vehicles had very, very expressive shoulder lines, which leads basically from the lights, moves over up to the end of the car. Yeah, that looks very nice. To make a sports car, a sportier car, it's also important that the ratio between windows and sideline is relatively high. The smaller the window line, the more sporty and rugged it looks. And now, my dream, these rims. Fantastic.
Yes, and the red brake calipers.
19-inch alloys, and the spoke is that big that you can see exactly those red calipers. Wonderful.
I love that.
But what the designers did very well too is, you see, they moved the length of the car slightly with the spoiler, kept it in color code, but by putting this in a black finish, the car looks even like it goes downwards. What the effect is that if you look at the vehicle as it is, you have the feeling it's on the jump already, even though it's not driving. So it makes it very, very dynamic. Let's go to the rear. I think most of people in South Africa will most likely see the rear more than the front of that vehicle. Yeah. So clearly you have to identify the vehicle, and that's the reason why we put the first time the GTI below the Volkswagen logo.
Yeah, because usually it would be on the side. Yeah.
But it needs to be in the centerpiece so that everybody knows that's a GTI.
That's the big boss on the road.
Exactly.
I like the exhaust pipes where they're located as well. It's staying with the tradition of GTI from the Mark 6.
Exactly. It's fantastic. And this is surrounded by this diffuser. You know, the diffuser has very nice move downwards. So it presses the vehicle visually, basically, on the floor and makes it like a tiger, again, jump down. It's really, really nicely done. What I also like very much, it's the continuation of the seam from the front, that the lights move into the line. You see? Yeah, so that gives us a clear character and a more squarey rear, which stresses against the crispness of the design. But the highlight, Jacob, is interior. Let's have a look inside.
Let's get inside.
I think the first thing what you just feel, I think you agree with me, it's very modern.
Yeah, it is very modern. It feels very futuristic, actually.
Yeah. The nice thing for me is also that it's really moved around the driver. So you feel these very, very comfy Vienna leather seats, and the seats are basically moved around your shoulders. So that gives you a lot of grip while driving. The first time we used here is the so-called InnoVision cockpit. That's a technology we are also using for our Touareg, our flagship. So we are using a 10.25-inch touchscreen system where you can easily manipulate what you want in the vehicle. But what is obviously very important for a driver is the steering wheel. Yeah, that is a very nice sporty steering wheel with the flat lower part of the wheel, gives you a very handy feeling. But what is important for us is our philosophy. Yeah, the philosophy is eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. And that's the reason why we have equipped it with a multi-steering wheel. Yeah, so you can basically manipulate everything what you want while driving and focusing on the road. Okay. I think a nice feature is too very sporty touch is the very small gear lever.
Yeah.
That moves the tunnel a little bit lower, gives you a more space, but looks also relatively fancy. Clearly, in a sporty hot hatch, you need to have the start-stop.
I like how it's flashing,
It's flashing,
the
yeah.
whole time. So when you're getting into the car and it's dark, you can't miss it.
Directly see where you have to push to get the engine rolling. Yeah. Today also is, I think I told you, light is the new chrome. Yeah. So in the past, a lot was meant by chrome. We are playing now a lot with light. So that's the reason why we have the possibility here to adjust the ambient light in the colors you want. If you just go here on background, you see multiple colors. So go obviously for the Volkswagen Blue. You see everything is in blue. Also, as we are in a GTI, there's no way you need to have it in red.
You gotta have it in euphoria.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what I personally also like are small touches. I'm a guy for small surprise and delight features. Things like carbon touch here gives us a sporty setup in the vehicle. What I learned when I came to South Africa is that you are really in love with your vehicles. Yeah. That's obviously nice for me as a car guy, clearly. But I think what you're even more in love with is music.
Of course. And I see Harman
Kardon.
Kardon.
Exactly. So you can have a really emotional feeling and experience with this vehicle, driving it, obviously, and at the same time listening to your favorite music in an extreme good sound.
Oh, I love that, Stefan. Now, Harman Kardon sound on the inside, Vrpa on the outside. Wow. The design of this GTI is truly something special. And I take my hat off to Volkswagen's head designer, Klaus Zikoria. So, Nasia, we've been talking about South Africa's market. And in South Africa, for example, we refer to cars in our own names, i.e. Karakara for Caravel, Vora for VR6, and even Fola for VW Beetle. Now, you know where I'm going with this, right?
I can see where you're going. I can see where you're going.
Vrpa. Let's talk about Vrpa as a name for South Africans.
You know, when Stefan first moved to South Africa, I was telling him this exact same thing, that in South Africa, the GTI is called Vrpa. The Golf GTI is the original Vrpa. And you know, as a brand that has been in this country for 70 years, it gives us so much joy that South Africans love our cars so much, they even give them nicknames like Ivura, Karakara, as you mentioned. And that's why, as a brand, it's important for us to take our cars to the people. So what we did, for example, with the Golf 8 GTI, we had to introduce it to our loyal fans and our partners, the VW Campfest guys, because they organize the biggest Volkswagen event in the Southern Hemisphere. And what we're going to be doing for our customers as well is giving them an opportunity to be the first to drive the Golf 8 GTI through bespoke customer events that are going to be happening countrywide in September.
Oh, well said. Now, there's no better way to understand this love than to hang out with GTI owners. Kutu Teledi is on the streets in Soweto.
Hi from Beni, my name is Kuto Teledi, and the annual VW Campfest is the largest Volkswagen event in the Southern Hemisphere. Now, the GTI is a car for the fans. And of course, with strong following in the township car culture, we are here today to pay homage to you who love the GTI. And also remembering the fact that the biggest GTI market outside of the European market is you, right here at home, South Africa. So let's do the right things. The iconic GTI meets the iconic Vilakazi Street. I'm from Beni. Mohammed, why the GTI? Why do you love GTI so much?
It's just a really nice car. Practically, I mean, it's fast, you can load luggage in it, go long distances. As well as that, it's about the culture and the passion that surrounds the GTI brand. It's like nothing else.
It's just something that's in your veins, I think.
You know what I say? It's made in Germany, but perfected in South Africa.
Come on, gee whiz, I want to grab that line. I love that line.
Just very nice shape, nice car, very fun to drive as well.
I used to drive a 4 GTI, but then once I drove the 7 from my friend, I was like, that's the way to go. So since then, I'll buy this car again if I had to.
Really?
Yeah.
Although I don't drive the car every day, it's always a treat when you get back in the GTI after a week or 3 of driving whatever. You get in the Golf and it just feels right. I mean, it's such a great package, such a good all-rounder. It's practical, it's quick.
When I started, when you hear that growl out of the exhaust in the motor, it just starts your day off right.
What memories do you have of your favorite GTI?
Actually, my first car was an MK1.
Nice.
Growing up, my brother had one, so I had to follow in his footsteps. I had my first one. I loved the car. I had a Mark 4 and a Mark 6, but a Mark 2 is my baby.
My first one was actually a Golf 3 GTI, which I bought back in 2014. and yeah, it was my first. So this is my baby. I've had her for about 3 years. So I'm gonna trade her in and buy a Golf 8.
Are you being for real?
For real, for real.
For real, for real.
Yeah.
What do you think of the new Golf 8 GTI?
Amazing. I absolutely love it. Love the IQ lights, love the new styling, love the integrated fog lights. Lovely car.
I mean, look at it. Look at it. The inside is like a spaceship, and I'd like, you know, the running lights in front.
Sure.
Those are amazing. Those are amazing.
The front, like a shark. It's mean.
It is
It's
mean.
Yo, so much difference, new technology on it and stuff. It's a beautiful car.
Now, if I was coming into your dealership, for example, and you were selling me the Golf 8, how would you sell it to me?
You go for a test drive first, then it will sell itself.
Come on, you couldn't have said it any better.
What a package. Evolutionary, yes, but you can see it still sticks true to the actual GTI. That's a machine of a GTI. It's the best one that's ever been, I think.
I love the lines on the car. Like the new dash, the cluster, very nice. Like the big screens as well.
I love the interior of it, the screens, the seats. It is absolutely stunning.
Well, Jacob, we are done and dusted. You heard it from the GTI lovers and the guys. Vrpa, all the way. Back to you in studio. Hey, Fambeni, let's go.
Verpa all the way. I love that. Thank you so much, Kuto. It's so cool to see that passion and hear those very personal brand stories. And what a treat to have the genuine fans involved in the launch of Golf 8 GTI. Nicely done, guys. I salute you. But Sia, you had my attention with these customer experiences taking place in September. Are there any dates released yet?
No, definitely. What we're wanting to do with these customer events is we want to give people a taste of what life is like in the GTI lane. So these bespoke customer events are going to be happening on the 4th of September in Johannesburg, 11th of September in Cape Town, and then 18th of September in Durban. And what we want to achieve with this is we want a total of 4,000 fans, GTI lovers, customers to be amongst the first to experience the Golf 8 GTI in South Africa.
Yo, I'm sure our social media will be flooded with pictures of this first test drive of the Golf 8 GTI. Now, Stefan, I have to ask you the main question. This is probably the real reason why we're here. Chankura, Rokra, Chelete. How much is the Golf 8 GTI going to cost?
First of all, I have to tell you that we start selling those vehicles from the 1st of September. It's very important. And actually, we have decided that the new Golf 8 GTI will be sold at a price of 669,300 Rand.
Oh, okay, that's a very reasonable price, actually.
And for those actually who can't wait, who want to have the car right away, can already place their orders now in the systems. We have opened it, so you can pre-book the vehicle, specify the vehicle you wanted, and then be amongst those who are driving this wonderful machine right from the start.
Continuing the GTI legacy, and with that price, I think there's going to be a whole lot more units being sold, without a doubt. Okay, folks, you've heard it from the Volkswagen team as they gave us a look into what has made the GTI brand the icon that it is in Mzansi. The Golf 8 GTI will be on sale in South Africa from the 1st of September. Remember to diarize that. You can also get to drive this car through countrywide customer events. You can get more information on this using the Volkswagen social media pages. I also cannot wait to fully experience the car when it is launched to motoring media next month. I think that's where I fit in. For now, though, thank you for joining us on the Golf 8 GTI South African digital premiere. Now, if you have any questions for Stefan and Sia, head over to the Volkswagen South Africa Instagram page now, where they'll be live for 15 minutes taking all of your questions. My name is Jacob Mushokwa. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember to keep left and pass right. Vrpa, let's go!
Volkswagen.